Welcome to Free Your Mind Reviews. This is Chris Johnson with a review of Lucy in the Sky. So, Lucy in the Sky is loosely based on a real life incident. It's about an astronaut whose life slowly begins to unravel because she can't handle the fact that Earth is just not as interesting as space. She's gone to that place, she's lived that dream, and she wants to continue to live that dream, and that's all she wants. And in doing so, everything else looks small to her. Family life, husband, everything. And that leads her to a dark and complicated path. Alright, that's as nice as I'm going to be about this movie, because this movie was straight garbage. And I honestly am. I know the reviews weren't great coming out of the film festival it premiered in, but that couldn't prepare me for how bad this film is. And it doesn't really hit you immediately because it has I hesitate to say pretentious, but very like art house. Look at me, feel to it for the first half of the movie. The first half of the movie, the first half of the movie is so poorly paced. And mind you, this is directed by Noah Hawley, and he did the Fargo FX TV show, and he did Legion. So I'm already used to his pace, used to his very interesting, weird style, and have liked it very much. So going into this, I couldn't possibly fathom the damn thing being as bad as it is. Because first you have a first half of the movie, and I'm sitting there at Alamo, and mind you, I love slow pacing, I really do, but slow pacing usually has to lead to a really cathartic point, or really have some really interesting character work and drama and analysis of the characters. This movie does not have that. It kind of chucks that to the side so that it can do weird shit with the aspect ratios, which was cool the first 3-4 times that it was happening. But then when it gets to the 50th time, I'm like, all right, I get the point. She's on Earth and she feels closed off. When she's in space, she feels alive and wide and open and all that. But the problem for me is space in general. The first problem I had was that I noticed how small of a role space has in the film. It's almost like the movie wants to be the space version of the Hurt Locker, right? But the problem is the Hurt Locker really hit home the idea that for some people, war isn't hell, war is a drug. Because you're basically at war in that film. You're in the war, you're in Homeboy's environment the entire film. And then he finally gets home at the end, and you can see how lost he looks. Whereas Lucy in the Sky kind of flips it in that you see space for like a minute. You see the wonder of space in a minute. And then for the rest of the movie, you have this lead character who I don't really know very well, besides she loves space, just looking depressed, feeling down, not knowing what to do with herself, and ruining everything about her life in the process. Which, on paper, you would think that's an interesting idea. It was to me before I walked into the theater. But then you watch it and it's just like, yeah, all right, this is dragging. Get to the point. Get to the point. Because basically that first half is just a person who doesn't appreciate what's good in her life, acting like an asshole. But you're thinking, oh, once it gets to the point of the story, then we're gonna be all right. Because besides the whole arty aspect ratio shifting stuff, what was memorable about that first half? It's not like we're having any like scenes like Interstellar where we're talking about where people are sitting down and really expressing themselves about the existential nature of what they're going through. I realized like 30, 40, 50 minutes into the movie, and I kept looking at my watch, and I'm like, there hasn't really been a scene in this movie yet that really expresses who these people are, who this character is, besides the superficial, besides the little fluff that's on her shirt. Who is this person? Who is Lucy? I don't know. Usually I love subtext, but I don't even, can I call this subtext? I don't think I can call this subtext. I call this no text. It's a bunch of bull. But it's not over. It's not over for the movie, It's not too late at this point for it to redeem itself. There's still a good movie in here somewhere, is what I was thinking at that point. Then the second half happens. And then they rush her downfall in a way. Then all of a sudden characters start mentioning negatives about her that I know is true. But it's like, hey, how'd you get to that in 2.5 seconds? It took you 1 hour, and then all of a sudden 2.5 seconds later you get it. Where did that come from? You went from point A to point B really freaking fast, and yet it feels like it took you an hour at the same time to get from point A to point B. So that's when the movie started to lose me. When the first hour took a while to get going with anything, and then all of a sudden, second hour comes, and it's like they're rushing. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. But even that, the dragging first hour, the rushed second act, can't even prepare you for how stupid the third act was. Absolutely, positively stupid. Now, mind you, the third act is probably the part of the film that is most like the real life incident with the astronaut and her losing her mind. But instead of playing it as like a really scary, unfortunate, depressing turn of events, because it's really sad to see someone so successful and obviously so talented at what she does just tear her own life apart. It should be sadder than this, but it's funny. It was funny. I'm like, what is this? And this not only goes to the writing and the directing, but surprisingly, it goes to Natalie Portman as well, who's some of her choices. First off, she's using an accent, and the accent didn't bother me until the third act, when she really was pouring it on. And then some of the choices that she made Lucy come off as a goof. Like, what the hell is wrong with this woman? But not in like when you see, like, Joker just came out the same day, right? And that also was about a mentally ill lead character. But it's like when you see him struggling, there feels like there's such truth to what Joaquin Phoenix is doing as the Arthur Fleck side of the character. And mind you, the Joker's a fictional character. Lucy is based on a real person who screwed up her life. Who had it all and messed it up. But yet, I felt no truth. I felt no truth in the first hour. I felt no truth in that goofy-ass third act. I mean, she just looked like an idiot. I'm like, wait, did this turn into a Saturday Night Live skit all of a sudden? What the hell is going on here? And then for some reason, instead of the movie owning up to what the character was and the wrong she did, it almost tried to throw in a feminist message behind her actions. A message that the movie beforehand did not build up to worth a shit. I do not mind the feminist message in film. I don't. But what I do mind is any type of message or any type of preaching to happen in a story that does not warrant it, does not deserve it, that does not build up towards it. And they may think, oh, well, we did. Look at this scene. Well, you didn't. Because you may have been trying to tell the story of greedy men and how they take advantage of the women and then call them crazy. Maybe that was what you were trying to do, but you didn't do it. Because there was one person at fault for their actions in this film, in this story, and it was the Lucy character. Because you didn't really show mental illness until that crazy third act, and then you made a mockery of it. Because in that first half, you showed a woman who knew exactly what she wanted and what she needed to do to get it. But then all of a sudden things go wrong and she becomes a loon. But then at the end, I was supposed to think about what this story means and what those actions mean in terms of the status of women in this world. And I'm like, that is a message that is needed. That is a message that needs to be told. But you picked the wrong story to do it because this woman is wrong. The real life woman was wrong. Do not ask me to sympathize with wrong. Ask me to observe it. Ask me to understand it. Even ask me to critique it. But don't preach to me who the real person at fault is here. Because I knew who the real person was that was at fault. I knew who it was. That's when the movie went from boring to funny to piss me off territory. It was like the movie showed me how raggedy she was for the first hour and 50 minutes, and then at the end, it was like the movie thought they were doing Contact with Jodie Foster. Now that's a movie where that message fits. Because she was a driven, determined, talented human being that had all her wits about her, and these douchebags here were trying to put her down. See, that's a movie where that message fit. That message does not fit in this movie. My boy David was asking me what's worse between Serenity and this. And Serenity, not the 2005 Firefly film, the Serenity movie that came out this year with Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. Because that was another one made by a guy who's done great TV, Stephen Knight. I love Peaky Blinders, and I was completely floored by how freaking bad Serenity was, and it turned into a goofy-ass comedy for the second half. But I'll tell you what, I was really laughing at that. So it was actually more fun in its badness than this movie, where it's like you start to laugh and you feel horrible about yourself because it shouldn't be funny. So, in closing, I gotta check my list of the movies I've seen this year, because I've seen over 100 with the the AMC and the Alamo passes, because I hesitate to say there was a worse movie to me this year. And that's just a mix of the dumbfoundedness and the disappointment that I had, as well as it being as bad as it was. That was a goof troop. I don't know what the hell that was. Avoid this damn thing. You want to see Noah Hawley stuff? Watch Legion. Watch the Fargo TV show. You want to watch good Natalie Portman stuff? Watch Black Swan. This ain't it. This is not it.